The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers nor Rogers TV.
Hey, what's good, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Players Corner. Today in the studio, we have a very special guest, a person that's very near and dear to my heart, none other than Kaion Grant. He is a four-time All-Canadian in youth sports. He's also a two-time OFSA champion, and he is also the 2019 13th draft pick overall for the Montreal Alouettes. Kaion, it's a pleasure to have you in the studio finally. I know it's been a long time coming, but you know, it's good to have you. How you been?
Pretty good. Just living the dream, right?
Living the dream.
Thank you for having me. Finally.
Well, you know, I had to kind of poke and push and prod a little bit, but you got it done. We're here. I'm happy to have you. Let's just talk about your journey here, man. I obviously lived it with you, but at the same time, everybody out there has not experienced the same things that we have experienced. How'd you get started in this game of football?
Really, growing up, I didn't really like football. Like, I feel like you tried to push me towards it a little bit, and then you kind of eased off a little bit.
Right.
And then I think I did like one summer of like house league. It was pretty cool. And then I was still stuck on my basketball ways. And then again, you just took a step back. You're like, I'm gonna let you do your thing. And then I feel like you sent Uncle Andre out after me for when I started at St. Mike's. Yeah. And then he's like, just try it. And I was like, okay, let me do it. And then from there, I just never looked back, I guess.
So in that pushing and prodding, I mean, obviously I played football professionally. Did you feel pressured in any way to join the sport? Like, were you doing any other sports at the time?
No, I didn't feel pressured at all. I was playing basketball, and growing up, I played soccer a lot. Mm-hmm. But then it was getting hard to balance the two, soccer and basketball, so then I just stuck with basketball. And then throughout high school, I played basketball and football.
Now you played some pretty high-level basketball. Like, you were at St. Mike's.
Yeah.
You went OFSA how many times? 2 times?
2 times, yeah.
Pretty incredible. Now talk about that experience. You were a high-level basketball player at one point.
It was crazy. Like, the amount of like the teammates that I played with that played pro or went Division I is like insane. Or even the people we played against.
Right.
And I think in my 2013 year, like our team was like crazy stacked. Like. And I remember our practices, they were so competitive, like we were fighting each other in like the locker room after. Like,
so talk about some of those guys you had on your team.
We had guys like Godwin Bowen, he's in Spain right now. Danilo Jurcic, Malcolm DeVivier, he's playing overseas as well, along with Danilo.
Yeah. Marcus Carr.
Yeah, Marcus, yeah. Marcus, I'm sorry if you see this. Marcus, I'm sorry, yeah. Marcus, that's my dog too.
Yeah.
That's my youngin. Even Kabongo was with us too.
Yeah. So all these guys had really great careers in the NCAA. Why do you think that call wasn't made to you to go to the NCAA for basketball?
Looking back on it, basketball is a sport where you can only get away with athleticism for so long. So if you're not putting in the work, like the extra work, it's going to be pretty evident if you're not in the gym. Whereas football, like, you may be able to get away with it just because of your pure athleticism.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like that's the main reason, and I'm also 6'2".
So it kind of works against you.
Yeah.
So you decided to kind of I thought you started football at a pretty early age. I think you started in grade 9.
Grade 9, yeah.
And you weren't the best player.
No,
I worked at it.
I would say grade 9, I definitely was there. I was like center bench, I would say my position.
That's a good spot.
Yeah, I was warming it up for everybody.
You know.
And then grade 10, like, it was a lot more fun. I'm one of the older guys playing, so I was getting touchdowns playing. And then I'll say it, like, I felt like I could do something with it in like grade 12.
Wow.
When we went to, like, I really thought I could go somewhere with basketball up until then.
Yeah.
But grade 12, we went to face Moeller, and they had a whole bunch of like pro athletes or
So Moeller is one of the top high schools in Ohio.
Yeah.
Right.
And then so we faced guys like Sam Hubbard, he's on the Bengals.
Okay. Yes. So Sam Hubbard, who had that big interception for return.
Yeah. So funny.
Yeah. So he was a safety back then.
Yeah, he was
right?
a safety.
Right.
And then I remember first play of the game, I do like a motion, and then I burn him on the go ball, and then they've never gotten scored on first. And then after that, like, I guess they got mad and just ran through
So
us.
I remember that game. We drove down, shout out to Andre Fullerton. He drove down with us, and we spent a good 8 hours in that car just talking about the things that we were going to do. And we had no idea what we were walking into.
Yeah.
So when you scored that first touchdown, we're like, yes, this is going to be a wash. We're going to kill them. And then they put up another 30 or 40 points.
In that quarter.
But you still had about 200 all-purpose yards against some of the best D1 talent in Ohio. At that point, did you feel like, okay, this is my time now?
Yeah, so I felt very confident after that. I was like, wait, I can really compete with the best of the best, really, when it came down to it. But unfortunately, I felt I got somewhat hurt that game. And then in my grade 12 year, I felt like I was pressured to continue the season and not like take like a week off to just recover. So I wasn't playing my best the whole year.
Wow.
Overall, I was still like good enough.
Yeah. So I didn't know that. Like, that you felt that pressure. That wasn't from me, was it?
Possibly a little bit.
Me? Wow, that's incredible. I thought maybe the coaches tried to pressure you to finish the season since the season was so short.
Yeah, it was a bit of both. And it, just myself, like, I don't like missing games at all. Like, especially if I know, because I train to where football's a game where you're never going to be 100%, right?
Right.
So where my 80% is still better than most. That's the way, like, my mindset for training.
And in between all this time, you are garnering attention as a basketball player. You're winning 2 OFSA titles. Back then, OFSA really meant something.
Yeah. Before all these prep leagues.
Before all these prep leagues started up, OFSA was the preeminent, kind of final destination of where you wanted to go as a basketballer in this city, in this province, right? And so you won that twice. How did that feel?
It felt good. Like, the first time it was great. Like, our team, like 2013, our team was stacked. And then we really should have had a three-peat, but I feel like we got complacent with our style of play in 2014. And we just relaxed in the first half, and we're like, okay, we're going to hit our shots. We're going to run and come back. And then I forget who we lost to. It was a school in Brampton, but the run just never came back.
A team that you shouldn't have lost.
Yeah, it pisses me off to this day that we lost.
Yeah,
but
I mean, these things happen, but I think those kind of losses kind of galvanize you for the future. We talk about people who kind of bud early and people who are late bloomers. Would you consider yourself a late bloomer?
In terms of football, 100% yes.
Yeah.
Like, nobody, I wasn't highly recruited out of high school.
Right.
I also didn't, I don't know, like, I would say I'm a late bloomer for the most part, but it's also a matter of opportunity too.
Absolutely. Opportunity, chance, and circumstance. Yeah. And so you were heavily recruited for a lot of Canadian schools. You ended up going to St. Francis Xavier.
Yeah.
How was that culturally? I mean, you went on one visit there, I remember, but like the culture shock, how was it different for you?
Like, it was great. Like, when I went there, I just felt like at home. Like, even like the people that were hosting me, I just went on my own. I'm like, let me just walk around the city, see how I feel, like if I feel comfortable. And I just really like the vibe of the coaches and just the overall town.
Yeah, so it's a great vibe. It's a very small town atmosphere, but they really, take care of their athletes, take care of the people they really want to see do well. So your first year now, let's talk about your first couple years there and how well you did. I know you were a 4-time All-Canadian, which is incredible. I think you were first team for 3 of those.
Yeah. First team for 3 of them as a receiver, and then the last one was as a returner.
Yeah.
And my first year, it was rough. It's just the learning curve, I guess, and just adjusting to the higher speed of the game, I guess, and getting involved in like a more serious playbook, I would want to say.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
That must have been tough to kind of balance school, learning a playbook, and learning a new culture pretty much out there, because it's different than Toronto.
Oh,
it's a lot different than.
Well, it's a good different where you can just like relax. Like, it's not like stores will be closing at 5. You don't have to rush anywhere if you really want to. Like, everything's just like laid back and it's just calm, I would say. Whereas here is like very fast paced.
Yeah, it was different. Like, and there was no more, 5 a.m. wake up to go to the bus stop, So we used to have to, Kaion doesn't talk about this very often, but we had to wake him up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning so he can catch the bus from Pickering to go all the way downtown to St. Mike's so he can be on time for school and practice. And he wouldn't get home till about 8, 9 o'clock at night. So it was a bit of a grind. But I mean, that grind, did it kind of help you and establish yourself as the person, the player you are when you got to the high levels?
Definitely. Everything, I was accustomed to it almost before it happened. However, looking back on it, to all the other upcoming athletes or college students, I wouldn't do not sign up for that 8:15 class and with the same mindset. I went to school at that time. It's not the same trying to wake up.
Yeah, your body's not functioning at 10 o'clock in the morning.
It's not the same.
Right.
So definitely I would not do that. Take as many 8:15 classes.
Yeah. So now we talk about youth sports. They don't necessarily have the highest talent. However, we still train out a lot of professionals. Why do you think that people don't look at youth sports as being the most talented? Or do you feel differently?
I don't know about the most talent. It's just, I would say, the financial differences between here in the States is different. So people are training from a younger age in the States. So of course their skills are going to be more fine-tuned. Right. But overall, I still think there's great athletes up here.
Yeah. Now that time goes by so quick.
Yeah, it was like a blink.
It was a blink. You win, all Canadian 3 times or 4 times, and you end up almost getting to the Vanier Cup a couple times. So I mean, and then you get to the CFL. Now we're going to talk a bit about that as we come back from break. But how excited were you to know that I could possibly get to the NFL, get to the CFL? What was going through your mind those last year or so at school?
It was just like a dream come true almost. And I would always just jokingly, not jokingly, but in high school, you're yeah, I want to play pro. You're just saying it to say it, but saying it and then being on the path and on the course to do that is another thing. So it's just very reassuring knowing that your goals are lined up and what you work towards is coming into fruition.
Absolutely. So did you really believe in goal setting at that time, or was that something that you just kind of pretended you did?
No, I got into it more towards the end of my St. FX career. In my second year, I remember I wrote on my board, I'm first team All-Canadian. And that was the first one. And then I got it. And I was okay, perfect. I'm gonna keep setting that standard. And I was be first in all purpose. And I'll keep writing on my board. And then I remember I had, for the last year, I had be All-Canadian for receiver and returner. And then I got it, the first team and then the second team.
That's amazing. I mean, I watched your fruition into an adult and into an adult athlete, from being a young elementary type of student athlete, and it was great to see that manifestation. Do you feel we'll get back to more of that after the break, but we're just here with Kaion Julien-Grant talking about his journey from the younger ranks of football, basketball, and soccer right up into the CFL. We'll be right back after a brief moment.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details. Sports fans know Sundays are for football. That's why you need NFL Sunday Tickets. With NFL Sunday Ticket, you'll get every live game, every Sunday afternoon, all season long. Follow your favorite teams and players live in HD. Order NFL Sunday Ticket and get up to 200 regular season games. Say NFL Sunday Ticket into your voice remote. This is Rogers TV.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is the Players Corner with Karim Grant. In studio, we have none other than Kaion Julien-Grant. the CFL's 13th overall pick in the 2019 draft. He is one of the up-and-coming superstars of this league, and we have him in studio today. How you doing, my man?
Good, man.
Thank you so much again for joining us. Like we talked about your high school career before the break, and now you're in the CFL. How was that transition? Just first of all, let's talk about the draft. Getting yourself ready for the combine, doing all the things necessary to get yourself mentally and physically prepared. What kind of things did you have to go through?
So I started training in Jersey. My agent had hooked it up, Jonathan Hardaway.
Okay.
Rest his soul.
Rest in peace, Jonathan Hardaway.
Yeah, so he hooked it up. I was training at Parisi and then with the sideline hustle, but it was great. So I, probably like a week or so before, 2 weeks, I had done all my pre-tests for the draft and had my goal set. I'm like, okay, these are good numbers for up north and down south.
Right.
And then you come to the day, or the weekend, I guess, of the combine. It's just all the lights are on you, the pressures, it's live stream, sometimes it might get to you. So as much as people feel like I still performed well, I feel like I hold myself to a different standard. So like,
you still felt like you could have done better.
Yeah.
Me too. But I mean, honestly, I think you did an incredible job. You showed a lot of poise, showed a lot of versatility, doing a lot of different things. It was incredible. My problem with the combine was like, you guys need to go on to YouTube and look at his highlight reel from university. Incredible. He should have been in the NFL. Should have been an NFL draft pick. But that's another story. We'll talk about it another time. I'm not bitter though. Bottom line is, you made it.
Yeah.
Talk about that feeling when they called your name.
Oh, it was great. You and my mom, we had rented out a restaurant, I guess, or a little section. So I had a bunch of family and friends there just around me, and I had no idea who was going to pick me. And it was just a waiting game. The first round comes, and we're getting text from my agent. Oh, you could go here. You could go here. I'm like, okay, let me just stop checking that because clearly I didn't go there. And then Montreal calls me. I'm like, wow, this is happening. Like, this is it. And then I had my hats and stuff from our interviews. But that was about it. And the rest is history. So
it's incredible because Montreal is the final team I played for. And to have them as the first team that you played for was kind of like a full circle moment for me. So I might have shed a tear. It might have been allergies. I'm not too sure. We haven't
Definitely
confirmed
a tear,
it.
Probably.
Yeah, it's probably allergies. It's probably something in the air or something.
I mean, and talking about full circle, you went to Acadia, I went to St. FX.
Yeah, so I mean, that was a big thing. I mean,
they didn't want to recruit me.
So Acadia dropped the ball on recruiting this young man. I'm gonna tell him straight up, Mr. Cummins, you missed out, but that's okay. Because
give him some L's, it's okay.
Yeah, Mr. Waterman, Coach Waterman was able to. He was able to reap the benefits of that decision and their non-decision to recruit you to Acadia. But that's another story again for another day. I'm not bitter about that either. Go Axemen. But anyway,
go X-Men.
Go X-Men too, right? So Acadia Axemen, St. FX X-Men, all right? I'm not sure who came first, but we won't get into that right now. Yeah. So your first year in the league, how was that?
It was definitely an adjustment because you go from being the guy on campus to, okay, you're a rookie and you have to really learn the ropes.
What kind of rookie stuff did they make you do?
Just buy donuts, regular stuff, but it's just still just the adjustment of, it's more of an intense playbook, and it's just your livelihood now.
Right. That's a big difference now. Now you're playing this game and you're getting a check every week.
Exactly.
Do you remember what the first thing you bought with that check?
New phone.
Of course.
My phone was bad.
Yeah, so you got a new phone and you're able to now, take care of yourself and not call up pops or my dad send me a little money for some food.
Exactly.
So it's a good feeling, right?
Yeah.
What was the worst part about the CFL so far for you? What's the worst part been?
Losing games we shouldn't have lost. Yeah. I would say that's the worst part.
Right.
I really despise losing.
Yeah. So you've never really got into the politics behind the scenes of what's happening?
There's always going to be the politics, but I've learned over my 4 years now that you can only control what you can control, right? So like, I'm a player. They're going to handle their business stuff regardless. So as long as I'm producing for myself, I'm going to secure my job.
Do you feel a sense of security knowing that your father has kind of gone through the same thing and won't let you go through the pitfalls that might have happened to him or other people?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I still ask you questions and whatnot, get your opinion. But having someone that's been through it,
Right.
definitely helps. Is an
Helps a little
advantage.
bit. Yeah. Yeah. So you guys missed the Grey Cup by one game this year. How did that feel, not being able to, get over that Toronto Argonaut hump?
It was very annoying because like the 2 times we faced them before, it was like, or our first 2 games we lost by like 1 point,
Right.
and then last game of the season we won. But other than that, like I feel like we knew going into the playoffs that we were going to beat Hamilton, and then it was between us and Toronto who was going to win the Grey Cup essentially. Because
Do you feel like you were used enough in the scheme of their offense, Montreal's offense?
Yeah, for the most part, everyone's going to want the ball more.
Right.
But like I always feel like if there's more I can do to help us win, then I would want to do that.
Right, absolutely. I feel you could have been used a lot more, but I'm a little bit biased. I'm just being honest.
For sure.
I think you can do a bit more than just catch hitches, but that's another story for another time.
No,
we got a lot of other stories for that.
You just gotta keep building though, right?
Absolutely.
So I went from 2 catches my first year to about like how much in my second year? Like 10?
Yeah, you had a few, a lot more than 2.
Yeah, but then this year it's like even more. So
yeah, so this year you had about 600 yards receiving, which is incredible.
Yeah, 5.
Well, almost 6.
Yeah.
We get there. We'll get there slowly but surely. I got to round up.
Yeah, I got you.
Think about it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just an honest guy.
I get
I
it.
didn't get it yet.
You're not 6'2". You're actually 6'3". So that being said, now what are your kind of predictions for this upcoming season?
I feel like Montreal has been like over free agency and all the ownership stuff are just being underlooked, but I still feel like we've made some solid moves and our team's going to be pretty good. So
you were the first free agent they signed.
Yeah.
In the offseason. You didn't even get to go through the free agency period kind of thing.
Yeah.
They signed you before you were actually
in the tampering window.
Yeah. So you're right before the tampering window. So you got signed. Were you relieved? Were you happy? What was going through your mind? 'Cause I know you had a trial with the Denver Broncos, right?
Yeah. I was relieved, but it was kind of like so I'll start with the Broncos. The Broncos, it was a great experience. I was there with Jalen Acklin and Nathan Rourke and then 2 other American guys, but the ones I mentioned are in the CFL or were in the CFL. But I feel like I did really well there. The assistant GM liked me. They all liked me.
Yeah.
And come to find out, my agent was telling me that I was close on getting the deal, but then the coach just got fired.
Yeah. Well,
so it happens
when you have a really bad team.
Yeah.
Right?
So
that wasn't your first NFL experience because you were able to get some notice and some notoriety from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah. After
you got drafted in the CFL, and you went down there for a mini camp. How was that experience?
It was good. So I originally they were interested from my final season at Santa Fe. So I guess they were in contact with my coaches, and as well as the Broncos, they were interested as well. And then I get drafted. Going into the draft, I know that I'm going to the workout or this mini camp, and it was great. But it was a lot too. Like it was just long days, and I feel like I was taken back by it a little bit.
Right.
Whereas some of the guys that are on practice roster they're already there for a month or 2.
So you're kind of against the 8 ball there. You're coming in as
for
a
sure.
guy that you really got to stand out.
It's almost
those
are almost like a free look almost.
Yeah.
But it's a great experience nonetheless.
Yeah.
However, those guys were there for 2 months and they already know they know the playbook already.
Right.
And we get lumped with a big playbook and we have an hour to review it before we go to bed because we have to wake up at 6.
Yeah. So I'm seeing a very steady progression here, okay? And I'm not putting any pressure on you, okay? You were 13th overall draft pick. You went from 2 catches in your first year to a number of catches in this last year. Yeah. 500 plus receiving yards. We are expecting, us as fans here back in the GTA are expecting a big year. Can you guarantee a 1,000-yard season this year? That's the major question we're trying to find out right now.
if in my power, yes. If I'm given all the opportunities I need, yeah. 100%.
So who do we got to talk to? Is it Caleb? Is it Cody? We got Cody. We got to figure it out. Get this guy the rock. He is a star in the making. Right. So I mean, it's great to have all these accolades and do all these things on the field. Now off the field, what do you kind of dabble in?
I do graphic design. Sell hats.
Yeah. Speaking of graphic design, I got a shout out. My boy right here, he did the graphics for the logo for the Players Corner. We needed a new change for season 2, and he stepped right up. So shout out to you for that. So you have hats as well. Where can they find this stuff?
Currently in the process of making my website, but shoot me a DM for now.
Just tell us your hats.
My name, so KAIONJG. On Instagram, on all platforms, really.
Nice. That's what's up. That's what's up. So do you feel like there's an importance to have a kind of a grounding moment for yourself where you can say, hey, this is where I made it, and this is what I'm going to become. And is there a moment in the CFL where you're like, okay, I've made it? You know what I mean? Like,
I would come to that realization like a lot more my first year, like when I was just returning kicks, but just like being able to return and then hear my name on the like the announcer say it. But I'll say like the other realization will be this past year when I finally got a touchdown. I felt like it was like ages since I've scored.
It's amazing.
The last touchdown I would have scored would have been 2018.
It's a great feeling, isn't it? So that's an incredible accomplishment. Now we talked about being grounded on the field as well as off the field. Now these are other endeavors. Are these things that you want to pursue when your playing career is done?
Definitely. Like I like to just dip and dab in everything, right?
Yeah.
So like art, I've always loved growing up, but I just felt like I couldn't get rid of it. So it's just like my happy time, and then I'm also being able to profit off of it. So it's just
amazing,
perfect.
Amazing. I see a lot of guys wearing your hats, a lot of CFL guys.
Yeah.
Not even on your team. Some guys not even on your team that are wearing your hats.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no.
A couple of guys I've seen in the NFL wear it, so it's been great. What is one thing you would tell your younger self about what you can expect for the future?
What to expect, or what?
Or what you would say to yourself to kind of inspire yourself.
Just to be wary of how you're spending your time, and like 'cause you can never get it back. Money you can always make, but time is money. Essentially, like make sure you're focused on what you want to do and be set with it, and make goals from early.
Right.
That's the main thing.
I'm glad you said that, because there's a lot of times when you're growing up and you're playing a lot of PlayStation, I was just like, bro, you know that you can't get this
I was just ahead of my time. Like if the streaming was back then, I would have been.
You would have been making money playing video games.
For sure. But now I just missed the window. So.
Listen, it's been a pleasure having you in studio. I know it's been a long time coming. People have been asking me, when are you going to have me in your studio? I'm like, okay, it's coming. It's here. We finally did it. Thank you so much for being with us. This is the Players Corner with Karim Grant. With my very special guest, Kaion Julien-Grant. Thank you for having me. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And this is the Players Corner. We'll see you again another time soon. Take care.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
One of the greatest mixed martial arts fighters of all time.
The UFC is his yard.
Sean Strickland is a beast.